Dear friends, it's a great joy to join you, even if it's in this video message or pre-recorded format. I'm sorry I'm not able to join you with the change of dates, and this new date. I was not able to make it live, but well, here we are. So let me jump straight into our presentation, our sharing. In particular, this year, I would like to focus my presentation a little bit more intentionally on the theme of liturgy, and in particular, the liturgical celebration of Creation Day, um, September 1st, this wonderful celebration we have annually on September 1st, as an opportunity to nourish the ecological conversion proposed by Laudato Si. And here, the reason why this year I've decided to focus my presentation more intentionally on liturgy is precisely given the novelty of the new creation mass. You know that Pope Leo promulgated this new mass last year, in July last year. And this is a major innovation in our liturgical life. And for our topic of an ecological conversion, I'm convinced this has enormous potential. So let me share a little bit of why. And for starters, of course, the premise is that an ecological conversion is the heart of Laudato Si. That's as we've heard from other presenters, the ecological conversion is that really true core of the encyclical. And it's worth noting that chapter 6 of Laudato Si has some references to liturgy. They're not extensive, but they're there. So, for example, in Laudato Si 235, we read that the sacraments are a privileged way in which nature is taken up by God to become a means of mediating supernatural life. And then the following paragraph, we have a wonderful paragraph on the Eucharist and the theme of creation. For example, reading that the Eucharist joins heaven and earth. It embraces and penetrates all creation. That profound cosmic nature of the Eucharist is taken up by Laudato Si. And here something that the reason why I think liturgy is so promising, and there's still so much to unpack here, is it's synthesized by this axiom. It's a liturgical axiom. It's called lex orandi, lex credendi, lex vivendi, which means as we worship, so we believe, so we live. In other words, that there's an interdependence between liturgy, theology, and ethics. And historically, our lack of attention to creation in these three dimensions has been correlated. And in recent decades, and especially in Laudato Si, there has been a very strong focus on let's say, redressing that lack of attention to creation in theology and ethics. But very little attention has gone into the other leg of the triad, the unattended leg of the triad, which is liturgy. And this is why I'm so excited, so thrilled about this new mass as an important step to start redressing that and rectifying that lack of attention to creation in liturgy. Even if creation is a foundation of liturgy, as we read in those earlier paragraphs of Laudato Si, there's so much more that needs to happen in that regard. And here, the beautiful, tangible opportunity we have is particularly on Creation Day on September 1st. And here, this day is also known because it's the first day of the extended season of creation that lasts the whole month of September till October 4th. But September 1st is the inspiration and the foundation of that season. And here, the beauty is that Creation Day for us Catholics was an unexpected bonus of Laudato Si. And here, a little bit of history is that, not sure if you remember, but in 2015, 11 years ago, when the encyclical was released, one of the speakers at the Vatican press conference to release the encyclical was an Orthodox bishop, Metropolitan John Sisoulas. And in the press conference presenting Laudato Si, he made this unexpected invitation, and he said, I quote, "The Ecumenical Patriarchate of the Orthodox Church decided in 1989 to devote the 1st of September each year to praying for creation." And this is a date according to the Orthodox liturgical calendar, the first day of the liturgical year. So and he reminded us that it was several decades ago that the Orthodox Church made this invitation to the other churches. And Pope Francis, thank God, was quick to accept the invitation. Only 1 month later, he officially instituted the World Day of Prayer for Creation for the Universal Catholic Church. Hey, so momentum has been accelerating since 2015. Annual statements by Pope Francis. Also now, Pope Leo has continued the tradition, and other leaders as well, promoting this celebration, and in parallel, grassroots momentum that keeps building up on an annual basis. So here we have this beautiful opportunity of an annual celebration, an annual observance to put Laudato Si and the theme of creation in the spotlight. And the beauty is that this is grounded in an ancient liturgical tradition. So, since the 7th century, September 1st has symbolized in the Orthodox liturgical tradition the day of God's creation. It's a liturgical feast since early medieval period. It symbolizes the expression in the beginning, as we read in both in Genesis 1 and in John 1. So it's for that reason, it's the beginning of the liturgical year for those Byzantine churches. So, and here, this is the important thing to realize is that there are two symbolisms embedded in September 1st, two intertwined meanings of the word creation. First, it's creation as God's act of creation. In other words, God, creation as theological mystery. And then the other meaning is that one of creation as the fruit of that creative act. So creation as the created world. The first one is the original symbolism of September 1st, that act of creation. The second one is this newer symbolism that the day has acquired in light of the ecological crisis, has acquired the symbolism as a day of prayer for creation. But these two meanings belong together. They're deeply intertwined. And now grounded in that those profound theological underpinnings, new liturgical options have emerged to celebrate Creation Day. So as mentioned earlier, the novelty we have now as Roman Catholics is this new Creation Mass, or formerly known as the Mass for the Care of Creation, which has enabled our celebrations of September 1st. Before, we had no way of celebrating liturgically this very special day. And it's worth noting it was the Vatican itself, the Dicastery for Divine Worship, who said when releasing this new Mass that it was with a view to its possible use on the World Day of Prayer. So it was intentionally offered for use, especially on that day. So in a nutshell, this new mass it's a new mass in the missal. In the missal, there are many options, many masses for various needs, as they are called. So this one in particular is a new mass. It's an innovation. It's the first time it happens since 2002. So it's been a while. That's why it's a significant step. And here also, it's important to recall what's happening in other churches. Here, want to highlight, for example, that many churches have grounded in that ancient symbolism of September 1st. They have elevated this day to become so non-Byzantine churches, for example, Protestant churches, elevating it to become the Feast of Creation in Christ. That's the official title, for example, in the Revised Common Lectionary, which is the main lectionary for Protestant churches. This was an announcement made only 1 or 2 months ago, very recently. So it's a significant ecumenical development. And the reason why it has this Christological title, the Feast of Creation in Christ, it's grounded in how it enriches the Christological nature of the liturgical year. Um, so the liturgical year is intended to unfold the whole mystery of Christ. And this new feast, the Feast of Creation in Christ, and in those churches, is precisely putting the spotlight on that first, if you want, step of the mystery of Christ, that in the beginning was the Word, and all things came to be through him. So now with this development happening in our sister churches, it's good to keep in mind when we celebrate Creation Day with our own liturgical format of the new Mass. Other churches are doing it in this parallel format, if you want. So I think the invitation would be to celebrate this very special day with this new Mass that Pope Leo has gifted us. So hopefully in a little bit more than 2 months, when Creation Day arrives, I hope you feel inspired by this step to celebrate this Mass in your own parishes and communities and beyond. So please spread the word, and hear something to given the novelty of the new Mass, that as any liturgical innovation just entails a lot of questions about how it's celebrated. I want to highlight that quite recently as well, a new website was released, worlddaycreation.com, which has a lot of liturgical and pastoral resources to support your celebrations and support parishes and communities to bring this, to welcome this celebration and live the message of Laudato Si and embody the message of Laudato Si. Ultimately, the the hope, I guess, again quoting from Laudato Si, is that the Eucharist is or can be a source of light and motivation for our concerns for the environment. So here, a wonderful opportunity for us interested in Laudato Si to dive much deeper through this cornerstone of our faith, which is our liturgical life. So, well, that would be it from me, and I hope it's useful as a contribution of recent developments, and looking forward to celebrating this Mass together next September, very early, only 2 months. God bless you all. Laudato Si, praise be God, and back to you, Prem. God bless you all.